What's poppin', beautiful people up in YouTube land? I put the 3 and G value, feel me? In this vid right here, 10 wrestlers scarier than the Fiend. Now, I can't think of three. Three, two coming to mind. Undertaker, Kane, maybe Abyss. Trying to think of who else. For some reason, as a kid, Sabu scared the shit out of me. I don't know why. Just cause like he was just super extreme. I don't know, but 10 for 10 people. Okay, I see Doink the clown, maybe Doink, but yeah. Let's see this list.
Hello, all of you wonderful people. Jules here from WhatCulture.com, and you know what? I've just got to say it. The Fiend, is he scary? Probably not anymore. I mean, he was for a time when he came out, and we had the whole sort of Mr. Rogers versus the very, very evil, real incarnate fear that he was pushing in the ring. But you know what? As with all things in the WWE, it wasn't to last. And it got me thinking, actually, there are probably a ton of wrestlers that are actually more scarier than the Fiend, despite what the
Who?
WWE is telling us. So you know what? That's what we're going to be talking about today. Because I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 wrestlers scarier than the Fiend. Number 10, Jake Roberts. A signature prop
Jake
is
the
a
Snake.
fairly ambitious concept, and
I'm
some
not gonna hold you. He is scary for the sense of that fucking snake, bro. And I heard about that story about Macho Man Randy Savage, how like he severely hurt him almost like the snake was latched onto him. Yeah, that's scary, bro. I don't want to get bit by a snake. I know they take the things and all that out, but bro, still gonna hurt. What the fuck?
yields very mixed results. Stan Hansen's bull rope worked because he was just such an awesome, convincing brawler that it was like he just rocked out of the saloon full of liquor, piss, and vinegar. Triple H's sledgehammer, meanwhile, was pretty dumb because why would he need it and where would he find it? Tables and chairs look like they might serve use in assembling a ring, but I mean, they're somewhat organic to the environment, but a sledgehammer? Well, tellingly, the Fiend has already abandoned what may have become his bespoke prop, the
Yeah,
comedy
that was
oversized
crazy.
mallet seen at Hell in a Cell. And you know what? It was the opposite of scary. It was stupid. I mean, say that he successfully struck Seth Rollins with it. I mean, what would happen then? It wouldn't have looked like a brutal act of violence. It was like acme bullshit that stepped well beyond the audacious horror
I
comedy
could
leanings
say
of the
that.
character. He might as well have used the Ramblin' Rabbits as Mr. Socko for the mandible assist. But Jake Roberts, well, he wasn't just a terrifying performer without his signature prop, a disquieting, malevolent presence, but he also had the Cobra that he unleashed in the early 90s that was
Yeah.
actual fabled nightmare fuel. The thing was so erratic in its deadly movement that for young fans watching it, it looked capable of lunging forth from the TV screens. And that bite that he got on Macho Man Randy Savage?
Yeah.
Ooh, no thanks.
No,
Number 9,
thank you.
Doink the Clown.
No, thank you.
Doink the Clown is, and this is upsetting to say, perceived by the ignorant as the poster boy for the new generation that they only told you wasn't any good because it reinforces the narrative of the WWE's Great Attitude Era comeback story. But you know what? The new generation did have some absolute bangers in them, and then amongst that was the original Doink, played by Matt Bourne, whom Road Warrior Hawk described as Krusty the Clown. But you know what? He was perfect for the role. A genuinely skeezy presence with an idiosyncratic glum menace to him. He first appeared in the Raw crowd as a playfully evil presence. He was more mischievous than sinister. That was until he made his entrance proper. Then, backed with the sound of a carnival scene entering dusk in an instant, he let out that menace in short, unsettling bursts. His face etched in disgust, suddenly swinging on a hinge to the ringside camera. It was just uncanny and unsettling, and he had this weird ability to be able to locate which hard cam was on and then just looking directly into it,
Yeah,
giving
that's kind of
himself
scary.
over as an entity which was awful in its omnipresence, much like the opening scene of Stephen King's It. A drunken slob Pennywise hybrid, the original Doink was over-familiar in places that he had no right to be. A tremendous harmony of a performer and persona scuppered by the very real demons that made it so effective. It was just a shame the real life route that Matt Bourne ended up taking. Number 8, Bruiser Brody. A gigantic Charles Manson who conducted his own
I don't know
business,
that much
Bruiser
about
Brody
Bruiser
was
Brody.
such a terrifying presence that he
Schooling
created
me
a
right now.
mythology around himself that has survived to this day. A totally convincing, bloodletting brawler, Brody
He
terrified
let him fuck
Japanese
a nigga
fans
up.
in his legendary series with Abdullah the Butcher. Their matches barely made
That
it to
man
the
is
ring.
big.
Instead, they swarmed the stands in
Jesus
bleachers,
Christ.
throttling and braying one another all the way, smearing concrete with blood in wild, unhinged spectacles that at once repulsed but magnetized entire audiences. Brody wasn't a top-tier worker in a land enamored with them, but he got over by working a style that barely felt worked. His bulging eyes and erratic, deceptively careless movements created the impression of a volatile madman who was in a fight to the actual death. The man was constantly soaked in blood, and he weaponized his terror to such an extent that it extended from the arena to the backstage area. Promoters were fearful of what he'd do to towns were he to succumb to his inscrutable whims, and in an infamous scene, a young green Lex Luger up and scrambled out of a steel cage because he was so frightened at the sight of the immovable, pissed-off British House.
Wow.
Number 7, Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is
Alright.
one of the most...
Damn, I forget about Brock. Yeah, Brock Lesnar is tight scary, bro. This nigga, son. This nigga will fuck you up in like 7 moves. And out of the 7 moves, it'll probably be like 4 suplexes. He everything he does look like it hurts. Severely.
men to have ever lived. And this isn't hyperbole, he is an insane physical specimen that only a life-threatening illness stopped from dominating the octagon. And what's scarier still is that he wasn't even particularly skilled in the field of mixed martial arts. He was simply a force of nature that briefly swept through the sport in spite of his rivals spending so much more of their career dedicating themselves to it. As it stands right now, in this universe, Lesnar is probably the scariest pro wrestler ever on pure visceral level, which in all honesty is the most effective level.
Yeah.
With every German suplex comes a heart thrust into the throat, hoping that the angle is perfect, because any slight miscalculation will result in a broken neck. His throwing a knee into the gut is more wince-inducing than any weapon shot or table bump, and when he opened up on the heads of Randy Orton and Roman Reigns,
that drum was crazy.
Unnecessary but undeniably effective in this harrowing drama. This put over the idea that Lesnar is capable of actually killing someone with his bare hands, which is genuinely terrifying. Number 6, Mick Foley. Beyond the mandible claw being
Oh
transferred...
yeah, when he was Mankind, bro. That was another one I was thinking about as a kid when I was scared. When he used to do his promos, he used to just be crying, bro. That was scary, bro. That was scary, bro. Like, shout out to Mick Foley, bro. Like, he created what, 3, 4 characters, and they all were successful.
To him, Mick Foley is a clear inspiration on Bray Wyatt.
It's a fact.
Tweaked the teacher's jarring shifts in cadence, erratic body language, and even adopted his
Mick Foley and
sudden
Undertaker
"Have a nice day"
had a baby.
into his own breezy goodbye. It's not quite the same though. Foley as Mankind was genuinely unsettling. His introductory vignettes were terrifying to the pre-adolescent audience haunted by them. His grasp of character was as tremendous as the premise behind it. Mankind was the manifestation of every marginalized, broken member of society who, unable to bear a life in the shadows, was to emerge from their
He's the old dude, bro.
Darkness tethered to reality, and his work in the role was as committed as it was terrifying.
He used to come out
clumps of his own hair from his head and spoke in larynx-killing pig squeals to put over the idea that he was insane, put over the idea that he was in constant pain and had already endured a life of suffering far more damaging.
His promos is top 5
that could ever be brought upon him. This, of course, manifested in spectacularly masochistic in-ring showings in which he blended character and action with
that versus Undertaker was crazy.
Asuka. You know what? The Fiend isn't even the scariest wrestler on the main roster. Realistically, Asuka shouldn't be a storyline threat. Fans should not take her seriously as a performer, even adjacent to the undefeated killer of a few years ago. The booking, in theory, should have destroyed her aura, because she was booked to sell profound confusion at the sight of a winking James Ellsworth, when she wasn't the most insulting afterthought of the modern era. Perhaps it's a wider WWE thing that underscores just how disposable everything has become, or perhaps Asuka is so exceptional a performer that she can repeat herself. After months in the wilderness, she got over by winning the awesome TLC 2018 headliner. After a prolonged vanishing, she got over as a heel kabuki warrior. She is immune to the machinations that otherwise kill careers dead because she is so brilliant. Her guttural native tongue promos are somehow more effective and comprehensible than most of the overly long and mostly
Word.
meaningless spiels elsewhere. She works a snug and
She
wholly
started
unique
getting
style,
crazy.
the snap of which comes
Ah,
across
look at
as
that,
deadly.
ah.
Even the way that she wiggles her finger ahead of a barrage highlights a certain gleeful sadism. Every single performer in the game should study her spinning back fist in the era of careless thrown to miss clotheslines.
Her
If you
submissions is
don't get
crazy
them,
too.
out of the way of that, your head is coming off. Number 4, The Undertaker.
You know he had to be on here.
Goosebumps. The Undertaker evoked that very same feeling most nights in his guise as the most effective supernatural presence in the history of professional wrestling.
The scariest part is when he used to like kill people when he had his faction.
And on the surface, that was ridiculous. But you know what? It was absolutely spellbinding. The makeup made him look like he'd just been unearthed, and his dead behind the eyes stalking gait really just made this act, because he was, as Gorilla Monsoon said, impervious to pain. And it resonated because Taker projected such a horrifying aura. What was, in reality, just a rocket-strapped push resonated to young, terrified fans as a real monster that could not be defeated. The Undertaker was a walking abomination, a very effective supernatural presence that worked in and because of a more innocent time. Number 3, Leatherface. Schlock is exponentially
Leatherface.
less
That shit
effective than
sounds
simply
scary.
being hard as fuck and realizing it, but Leatherface did Schlock brilliantly because there was little else to his act than theatre, and so he perfected the art of getting over before he even had to do anything in the ring. Scrutinized closely, his look was almost comically bad. I mean, he was cosplaying as the horror movie villain, and you know what? The magic, the smoke and mirrors, that made it so that nobody in the building got too close a look, because this Leatherface brandished a real chainsaw to ringside. He revved it up and swung it about so loosely that it could literally have flown out of his hands and into the terrified faces of the spectators.
Wow.
Then he ran rampant up the bleachers, sending those fans scurrying, and they pretty much had to get the hell out of his way to avoid being sliced in half. So yeah, if you want something that's scarier than the Fiend, then look no further than
Nah,
that.
this nigga probably tell if I was scary.
Accidentally cut you in half. Number 2, Minoru Suzuki. Minoru Suzuki carries an inherent scary threat because his work is so legitimate. He is a hard bastard who smacks the sweat off his opponents with rapid barrages of open palm slaps and then renders them incapacitated with his expert submissions. But Suzuki ascended to the terrifying with his use of facial expressions. The man looks deranged at his peak. The glee in which he torments his opponents creates a
body,
tremendous sense
just
of terror.
facial
His
movements.
wide-eyed happiness looks sickening because the contrast is all so just off. He is torturing people, and this, to him, is a wholesome joy. And he is exalted when receiving pain. The pain drives him, and the balance of the performance is just perfect. It never
Man,
once
he look
descends
crazy.
into the dreaded wacky realms because there's so much intricate
Might be because of that
substance in the
hairstyle
foundation
too.
of his
Like,
pro
oh man,
wrestling.
stupid.
And what's ironic is that Minoru Suzuki, black trunks, black boots, a shooter, is one of the greatest pro wrestlers and sports entertainers of the time. And you know what? His age actually helps enormously because it creates an inherent authoritative final boss quality to his work. And number
How old
1,
is he?
Kota
In his 50s?
Ibushi. Kota Ibushi has incorporated a new development of his character into his matches, and it is
No
legitimately
Asians, they
terrifying.
be like
Colloquially,
60,
unfortunately
still
known as
young.
the murder boy shtick, it is something else. Ibushi enters a disassociated fugue state in which
That nigga
his
physique's
expression
crazy.
becomes completely still. He doesn't even feign to wince at a crushing forearm blow. It's as if he isn't there. He doesn't wear a mask, he doesn't emerge from underneath the ring, he doesn't control lighting systems, but what he is the closest that wrestling has ever come to a Michael Myers figure. A profoundly unsettling void of humanity, relentless and impervious to pain. It feels more scary because Kota Ibushi is a real enigma. This is a man who has mastered his craft with deeply intelligent, years-long tales. This is a man who for years refused to commit his future, and yet in 2019 signed a lifetime deal with New Japan Pro
Damn.
Wrestling. He's so erratic that it feels like he might actually lose himself entirely in these disturbing moments, which informs a profound anxiety and empathy for his opponents. And there we go, my friends. Those were 10
Okay,
wrestlers
shit out of this
the
thing.
Fiend. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. If you want to chat to me further, you can do so.
Nah, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. He schooled me with a lot of these dudes, bro. A lot of these dudes look scary, bro. That Leatherface nigga, bro. Being that he in low budget arenas too. Nah, I would be very far away from that guy. Damn. You forgot all about Jake the Snake, son of that snake in general. Damn, even Mankind, bro. Wow. Bro, that just brought back memories, bro. Watching his promos as a kid, just his entrance, bro. Just that eerie, sad song, like sad, scary sounding song. Him coming to the ring, and he just crying, looking at everybody, like yo, damn. Even those two New Japan wrestlers, bro. I don't know that much about New Japan, so like he screwed me on that too. But yeah, man. But I ain't gonna hold you. Fiend's one of my favorite wrestlers right now. That's out right now, bro. Like just everything. You can tell he puts time and effort into his character, and that's what's lacking with a lot of people. Cause there's a lot of good wrestlers out there. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot, but they lack that it factor, and that's what generally gains popularity for a wrestler. Like Roman Reigns for a long time, what wasn't it? You feel me? He was an extraordinary wrestler, but now like he's finally getting it, bro. He's finally getting it. But yeah, it's your boy G up and out of here. Peace.